So season 11 wasn't the best in everyone's minds. There's definitely room for improvement regardless of how it turned out. Series 12 of the forthcoming season of Doctor Who began production back in the mid-January of 2019, and we are now going through the phase of waiting to see how that will turn out for the next year and a half. The writing has already been done, and of course they're into filming. But in this case, I would like us to have a talk about how we would make some improvements to the show if we were in that writer's room. I am joined by my friend today, Harry.
Hello.
And if it wasn't obvious already, we'll be discussing our hopes and ideas for Series 12 of Doctor Who. So we'll be breaking this up into several categories, starting with the Doctor, continuing with the companions, then along with the aliens / the threats, and finally conclude with the series. How would you want to handle the Doctor in the 12th season?
Big bloody question that is. I'd I wouldn't have any fundamental changes with sort of like the character as such. I would just want Jodie Whittaker's performance to be slightly tweaked, if you know what I mean. So in the last video we did about our review of season 11, I said that I didn't really like Jodie's delivery of lines because every single line she delivered felt like it was forced or it didn't feel natural, and it felt like when you're listening to in a museum there's an audio like a track about something. It felt like that. It felt very boring and monotone, you know. So I'd want Jodie's sort of performance to be slightly more natural, and if I would have any changes to her characterization of the Doctor, I'd ask her to do something different to what she's doing now, because what she's doing now is very similar to like Matt Smith and David Tennant sort of style Doctor, and have her own sort of interpretation of the character rather than just Doctor Who combined into one. If you know, like all the previous actors combined into one. You know, rather than being everyone, just be herself.
Yeah, do some more diverse thing compared to just copying the comedic mannerisms and the goofiness.
Yeah, and also don't flail your sonic screwdriver as much as you do. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I agree with your stance on those. I think those are definitely improvements that need to happen. For me, I actually think they need to give her something to do story arc-wise. This kind of bleeds into the last part we'll talk about, but for me personally, for the Doctor, I think what they need to do is give her an arc that darkens her, makes her more gruff and a bit more stern. I think what they need to do is they need to take a plotline that they discarded from the 6th Doctor era. If you don't know, when the 6th Doctor was cast, one of the initial ideas they had for the Doctor was that he would be hiding a secret, and which is why he was so mean and mean-spirited and all around just an unpleasant guy to be with, and he thought he was on the top of the world. It was actually meant to be because he was hiding something and he didn't want people to be suspicious about it. Because of stuff going on at the time, however, and because of how his Doctor was received, that plotline never came to fruition, and it's mostly just been forgot about by people except for, yes, die-hard fans, I guess, and people who know that era off by heart. What I think they need to do with Jodie is that they need to bring her plot where she's hiding something from everyone, from the companions, from other people, but have the antagonists of the season take note of her keeping a secret and have her be more concerned about it, be secretive, even maybe start to distrust her companions to an extent because she's worried that they're going to get on about it.
Fair.
I think that would definitely also give more for her to show more of her performance, because again, as you said, she doesn't really offer a lot outside of, again, whimsical awe a lot in season 11, and for a few episodes maybe it can work, but for all 10 and technically 11 episodes it just felt like there was no progression to her, especially when you compare her to Tennant, who went through so many different mannerisms and emotions throughout his first season, and even Eccleston, who only has one season. Again, kind of like we reiterated in the review, one season can be done great, and it can be considered by many to be amazing. Series 11 wasn't that, so I think Season 12 is their chance to definitely push Jodie's Doctor into a more different territory, and something that I think will make people like her more. Again, look at Capaldi. He started off mixed, to say the least, but mostly I think people liked him, and when they changed it up so much in Season 11, it wasn't as well received. Some people liked it, but for the most part, people thought it was just too different and too the opposite of what they came before. So Season 12 season 10 rectified that, and we got the perfect blend. So I think they just need to find that perfect blend for Jodie, I guess. But they need to also do some different stuff that makes her stand out beyond just copy and paste, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said about the David Tennant sort of aspect. Like his Doctor went from what three, 4 series sort of thing, and he had so much character development that he was sort of, from the first time you see him to the last time you see him, he's very, very different sort of person, but not too different as to sort of be distracting, like you said with Capaldi. He had character development rather than character change. So I think that's what Jodie needs for this series, some sort of development rather than active change, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I say that a lot, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, we can now move to the next one, the companions. So this one's a bit difficult, but how would you... Yeah, you know what, do you want me to start?
Yeah,
off
you
with
can go with this one.
Cool. Okay, so I think, as a whole, season 11, the biggest flaw they had was the writing. So I think what they need to do with the companions is give them some more stuff to do, for say. And I think the forefront that has to be with this season is Yaz. Now, of course, as we mentioned previously in the review, Yaz did mostly nothing. And I think it's the running joke now for our fans that, yeah, she's just there, like, she's the modern...
But I don't understand why there's so much, like, fan fiction about her and the Doctor. Like, she does nothing. Why would you give this character any personality when she doesn't give any out? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Because it's the internet.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I think what they need to do with Yaz is take a more central approach. What they should give her more... I think what they should do with her is they should bring her role as a cop more forefront and centre with the series. Or they should also give her more of an authoritative role and take charge of the situation. I think one thing I talked to this during the unscrapped first episode we did long ago, and I might have mentioned it in a few other videos. What I would love them to have done is have a police officer be the companion and see how those ideologies and actions conflict with the Time Lord himself.
Herself.
In this case, herself.
Yeah.
I think that would have been such a nice callback to the Bernard Cribbins companion from the 1960s movie, but also because it opens the door for a new dynamic, and because, again, when you look at Amy's kissogram moment as pretending to be a policewoman, that seems like a cool thing they could have done. So I think it would have been cool. I'm not rambling at this point, but I think what they need to do is that Yaz needs to have... Sorry. What they need to do is that Yaz needs to have a more central role in the season where we can get to know her more personally and see what she thinks, really. Because, again, she was mostly just there for a lot of season 11. With season 12, they need to bring her out more, and have her job play more of a central role. The kind of idea I had was that they should have a two-parter where it's set on Earth, and she and her police officers and co-workers are investigating a crime scene, and this can lead them to being trapped in a building with aliens. Have you ever seen a film called The Raid?
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, the basic premise is that it's a SWAT team stuck in a building filled with mobsters and killers, and it's one of those cool action films.
Like Die Hard?
No, think Die Hard, but with professionals.
Okay.
Professional choreographed fights and all that, but Doctor Who can't do that. But
yeah,
I think that concept would be cool, and it would open the door, again, kind of like how I kind of touched upon it with my pitch for Arachnids in the UK last in the review, where it should have been companion focused and Doctor lit. It should focus on Yaz and her role as a police officer, and how she handles the situation now that she's been through a lot with the Doctor, for say. Again, we haven't seen any of that, but it's a chance for her to stand out and improve more among her teammates, because she was set up in the opener to be wanting more, and she wasn't really doing a lot on the team. So I think that's their chance to do something with that. And I also think do a tool with conflicts between the Doctor and the companions, and those make the best relationships. Again, look at Martha and the Doctor. That small scene in Gridlock, it's small and it doesn't really impact the rest of the season, but it's a nice character moment that kind of stands with them, and that moment is rememberable of itself. Even with Donna in The Fires of Pompeii, great episode, added more of the fact that the Doctor and her conflict with how they should handle the situation, and to an extent even Rose. They clashed every once in a while, notably that comes to mind, in Father's Day. We had nothing like that in Series 11 with Yaz or any of the other companions to an extent, unless you count Graham in the final, but again, that wasn't really...
Yeah, that was just like, I will do this. Move on. And, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, they need to introduce some conflicts between the core characters, and I think Yaz would be the perfect candidate for that because of her role as a police officer, and it opens the door for many different interactions between the two, and it also opens the door for a lot more drama to happen that feels authentic as opposed to just feeling artificial like a lot of it did with Series 11. As for the others, for Graham, because he was the only good thing we had out of Season 11, I think he needs to take a bit of a back seat, but what he also needs to do is have a subtle arc, not be the full front centre, but have one of those subtle arcs that pops up every few episodes and it comes to fruition in the final, or at least the last episode, or at least the first episode before the final. What I think they should do is they should bring his cancer back. Have him find out in the opener or in episode 2. Yeah, have him find out that it's coming back and he's unlikely to get it cured or whatever, all that drama, and have him hide it from everyone else. With his family. So having this come in, Graham doesn't want to disturb that. He wants Ryan to be happy, so he'll hide that for the majority of season 12, and maybe the Doctor can find out in a few episodes and she'll agree to keep the secret, but she'll urge him to tell him, and it can be that nice little family drama in there. So we've got the family drama, but it's not full front center to the point where it's annoying and it's not sci-fi like Doctor Who. I also think that's, again, it's using the plots they set up from season 11, so I think that would be good for them to bring up, per se, because again, if it's not brought up at all, or even in series 13, depending how long this is for, again, it just kind of adds into, it was just there because set up, no payoff. As for Ryan, I still stand by that what they should have done with Series 12 is that should have been the one where he focuses mainly on his conflict with his father. They should have had his father come in Series 12 and have that be the full front arc for him, trying to deal with his father and how he welcomes him back into his life. However, because Chibnall decided to wrap that up in one episode, and do it poorly in my opinion, we've now got pretty much nothing to do for him outside of maybe start a relationship with Yaz. That doesn't need to happen, but I think that's one of the potentials that they could do at this point. So I think, in this case, Ryan needs to branch out more socially. Have him be... Because again, I don't recall if they brought this up, but he didn't seem to be that sociable, or at least he didn't bring up a lot of friends that he had. He mainly talked about work and his grandmother's death. So I think what they should do is maybe introduce this other arc that he's not really good social-wise, so maybe he should branch on, maybe meet some friends, because his time with the Doctor has maybe given him more confidence, and maybe this can extend to him asking some girls out, in this case asking Yaz's sister out, because I think this could open the doors for some interactions between her and her family. It could get them more interesting, to say the least, instead of just being there like Clara's parents. And I also think that if they want to do the Ryan and Yaz romance, if that ever happens, it opens the door for them to do again the classic, he's dating my sister now, I see how much I care about him, or whatever that fiasco is. I don't know. I'm not professional with that kind of drama, but it opens the doors for that kind of stuff to do if they want to, and it gives them something to do too, because again, I think the main central arc will be for the Doctor, which we'll get to, but the companions need something to do. It doesn't have to be front and center, but it needs to happen to the point where it feels like they're doing something, they're not just being there, they're not just existing. So that's my rundown for how I think the companions should go. How about you?
Some of the things that you said there, I sort of disagree with. The main one that I've written down before we even started is less family. I don't think we should see Yaz's family ever again. I hate them. And when you said about having Ryan and Yaz's sister get together, I was like, no, because I don't want to see them ever again, because they're just so boring, and we don't need family dramas or family issues. Like my dad said a very good point about it is it feels more like a soap opera than it does a Doctor Who science fiction program, because we get so much family conflict and family issues and family things resolving themselves, and it was a very family centric series sort of, and we don't need that because that's not Doctor Who. Doctor Who is aliens and sci-fi and fun, not boring family stuff. Leave that for Broadchurch, So, So I think we leave the family out of it, or if they are in it, let them just exist and just be there, and then not say anything and not do much, but just be there, sort of like how Martha's family was just there, and they didn't really do much, but they were interesting enough, but like they weren't focused on.
I disagree though, because with Martha's family, they were part of the plot because they were tied into the Masters arc in the final.
Yeah, but that was in the last episode, not just randomly plotted in, around.
No, but they built it up though. Again, they had her mother actually working with the government to an extent, and then it was revealed that they were working for Saxon all along. But I think that I understand, because Doctor Who is at its heart not a family drama, and the main problem with Series 11 was that it was mostly family drama with some sci-fi stuff sprinkled in. So what I think my pitch would be basically that they need to basically have the sci-fi stuff more for front and center, but the family stuff needs to be there because that's the stuff that actually drives in character and emotion. Again, the reason we love Martha so much is because she has family troubles and she wants to get away from them, and she has this human passion for the Doctor, even though again we're tired of it because it was so much with Rose, but it's there and it's relatable. I still think they could have done it better, but I also think that it's there for a reason. It's not just there because we're just filling a quota. But with Series 11, it was just again family drama for front and center. It's like Chibnall didn't know how to write good sci-fi to an extent.
Yeah, it was like the family drama wasn't intertwined with the story. It was its own different thing, and that's not what we need. If there's a family thing going on, then that, like you said with Martha's thing, it should be part of the plot. But if it's just there, like Ryan's thing specifically, that wasn't part of the plot until Ryan's dad came along, and it was just sort of there. It did a sort of. I like that scene with him and Ryan in the cafe. It was a good scene, but it wasn't. I was watching it with interest, but I was like, this isn't Doctor Who, and I don't think it should be this focused on, because that was a long scene in that episode, and I was like, it shouldn't be this long, and if it is, have it be part of like a big part of the story, not just this little thing that happens and we talk about every now and again.
Understandable, but yeah, I just think it would make more sense for the characters to do stuff, and I think it would also be a nice way. Doing stuff, but he's not really. Again, we don't really know. He's just doing what he's told, and he's just hanging around with Graham. Really, I think if they gave him more stuff to do, gave him this arc of social problems and getting to know Yaz's family more, and maybe start a relationship with Yaz. Again, it's stuff to do. It's family drama, but it's not the front center. Again, I keep reiterating that, but I just think that they need to do something with them, because again, if Series 12 is just focused on the Doctor, that's cool. But at the same time, it makes the companions redundant, because the worst thing they can do is just have them hover in the background and simply ask questions, because that's falling back into the cliche of they're just there for classic conversation and just explaining to the audience. And that happened a lot with Yaz. So I think they need to do it with all of them, more so than others. But again, would you, in place of that, would you give them a different story instead? How would you do it? How would you use them essentially?
What, the companions?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a writer. I don't know how I can make an interesting story, but I just think that my sort of with old Doctor Who, not old Doctor Who, but past series Doctor Who, I like it when lots of people don't like this, but I like it when they're sort of like in Scooby Doo when they split up. I like when that happens, and if you give the characters their moments then, but then it's sort of intertwined with the story, and they do, like you said, they need to do stuff. Like if you actively give the companions stuff to do, then they're more relatable and you like them more and you want to see more of them. But with like Yaz and Ryan, except Graham's fine, but with Yaz and Ryan, I didn't really want to see more of them. And when they came up on the screen in their sort of individual scenes, I was like, I'm just waiting for the story to happen. I don't want to see this anymore. But you know, that's sort of one of the things. But I've got another sort of a little point that I want there to be kind of more humour. There was quite a bit of humour in this series, but I think if there was a little bit more, and I know it's like that's a bit childish and everything, but if there was a little bit more humour, then I think it'd be sort of reminiscent of older series when it was like light-hearted rather than, you know, whatever Series 11 was.
Maybe I won't disagree because I think Doctor Who is good at humour, especially in the Tennant era and Smith era too.
Definitely.
But I think they need to find that balance with seriousness, with drama and humour. Because again, there was a lot of awkward humour moments with 13 and even the companions at points this season, and I just think that again it holds them back really. Again, kind of they're in a show for kids and for families really. They can't go all out and do like Cybermen converting humans to that extent. They can only more imply it really. I think Doctor Who also has that problem. They can't use the world to their advantage because it's focused on a target audience. So I think they need to find that target audience essentially. They need to find that balance between the humour, the horror, and the action and the drama. And I just think Series 11 didn't do that well. I still think they should keep it, but I also think they should find more stuff to do. Find some good writers that know how to balance the good stuff. Heck, if they want to, maybe bring back some classic writers from the Tennant era, or
like Moffat,
even the Moffat era. As much as we complained about him during his tenure, I think Mark Gatiss knows the Doctor very well, so I think he would do great at writing an episode if they wanted to come back.
Well, I think I would like Moffat to do like a couple of episodes. People hate Moffat now, but I honestly didn't hate him when he was doing any of his series except for Series 9. I didn't like that one, but I like Moffat and I like his stories, and I think it'd be good to do maybe one more, or even I know this is very unlikely, but even if Russell T Davies did an episode, that'd be quite interesting, and he could bring back some of his characters from when he was running it. And that's another one of my point. I think they should bring back old characters, like not like old like Jack or Susan. I think even if it's just a character from season 11 who is in it for an episode, if they I can't think of any interesting ones, but if like an old character came back just for an episode or like a two-parter or something, it'd be grounding Doctor Who or the new series of Doctor Who in like in the actual Doctor Who universe, or even if it's if it is a character from season 11 in its own little Doctor Who universe. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, it would make the world more bigger.
Yeah. Or smaller.
Yeah, I'll come back to that actually. But yeah, we can now move on to the next one, which is the aliens and the antagonists. So, do you want to go first with this?
Yeah, sure. I don't really have much story-wise I can say about these ones, but I think there should be less CGI monsters. Like the CGI spiders didn't look great. It did look like an episode of Primeval. I've said this already, but it didn't look great. The little alien that looked like something from an American comedy, I didn't like that, because it was CGI and it was just bad CGI. I think Doctor Who strives on practical effects and cool designs. Like in the first series, like the Daleks were terrifying, and they were like, that was just practical. I mean, if you look at it back, it's kind of silly, but practical effects do look great. Like my
so
favorite,
like the Slovene and...
but my favorite is the Silence. The Silence were wicked. They were such a cool concept. Well, I guess they look like Slenderman, but they were practical effects. So were the Weeping Angels. They look cool. Like we need more cool
I understand,
designs and more
I think...
interesting looking designs rather than like someone wearing a like a Stig outfit. That's a bit naff. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So just interesting designs and interesting concepts, like the concept of the Weeping Angel and the Silence. I come back to them a lot, I guess, because they're very memorable, but they're modern memorable ones. So cool concepts, like if an enemy can I can't think. I'm not a good writer. Like it's like the silence. How the silence works. Like if you look away, you can't remember them. That's a really cool Doctor Who concept. I mean, more stuff like that rather than just like this is a tiny alien that can eat lots of stuff. It's like lots of food. That's a bit enough for me. Just give us an interesting one.
Okay.
I do ramble.
You don't think it's okay, and you don't think any specific monsters should come back, or you think any specific types should be tackled?
Maybe. I don't remember what they're called, but the water creatures from like the classic.
The sea devils.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool if they came back. Maybe like if in the series it was just them, the sort of old recurring characters. But that's the only sort of classic Who that we haven't had back that looks cool. And I think if they came back, that would be nice.
Okay. For me, I agree. I think they definitely need to take a step back from CGI, because as cool and good as some of them looked, professionally designed wise, because again, Series 11 was a step up in CGI and cinematography, but that didn't change the fact that the aliens themselves weren't on par with what we expected or wanted. I think what they need to do is, for the new aliens, they need to make them more interesting and make them a threat. I've got my notes here. I think what they need to do is introduce two types of concepts, which I think would be cool to see on screen. Limited, because again, it's a family show still, so they can't go all out. But I think I would love to see a zombie-like creature that sucks life energy out of humans. This kind of ties into my Yaz character arc for the two-parter, where I would love them to go into this building, and they think it's like an accident, or in a way of torture with maybe a drug bust gone wrong or something, and they basically find out these aliens have been taking over the building and living off humans there, and it can be them trying to find their way out of the building and trying to deal with the situation, but maybe have a twist to it that they're doing this because they have to live. So it's this bittersweet, they're not evil, but they have to do it, but they still have to stop them. I think the main problem with Series 11 was that we didn't care for the new aliens, and they weren't memorable enough to the point that we would want to see them again. Again, look at Tim Shaw.
The Tooth Fairy.
I thought he was okay for the opener, but the moment he came back, I realised that I didn't care, and I don't really care to see him again.
Yeah.
So I think if they make them more compelling and more threatening, I think that's gold for an interesting villain. And again, you look at the silence; they are the motivation is also terrifying too, because the thought of trying to kill you, and yet you can never remember them. That's a great concept. And the Weeping Angels too. They don't mean to do it; it's their nature, but they're still threatening. They still kill you. So I think they need to come up with some more interesting monsters like that. I also think they should introduce a monster that is memory based. Have it be a creature that feeds off bad memories. Again, this kind of opens the doors for more interactions between the companions. Maybe we can find out that, again, Ryan's social anxieties or something, if he has them, they're full front center in this. Maybe he can try and learn to battle against them. Maybe Graham is battling with his bad memories of cancer and Grace's death. Even Yaz, maybe she's battling with some inner demons that she's facing throughout the season. For the Doctor, however, I think this would be a great way to conclude the episode, where this creature confronts her at last, because she's curiously been trying to avoid it. She doesn't want to be anywhere near it, to feed on her memories. So she takes the stand and she says, "Leave my friends alone, leave these people alone, leave this planet, or I'll stop you." And the creature, it ignores her, it does what it does, and it feeds off her memories. However, it suddenly starts to scream, panic, and it's dying, because the memories are so powerful. Again, I say dying. It's more overloading. That's the best way of saying it, because the Doctor's memories of a certain event are so bad and so terrifying and so upsetting to her that it overwhelms the creature, that it kills it. And that's maybe where the companions can start to wonder, what did you show it? And the Doctor will not tell them. And this kind of factors into my pitch for the arc, which I will get to. But I think that would be a great monster and a great concept to explore, and it also gives the characters an interesting position to be in.
That's sort of similar to a Dementor, kind of, when they take the memories.
Exactly, yeah.
Or you know that sun creature that the Doctor was sort of talking to with the Clara, the Rings of Akiten. I hate that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of like a memory, yeah. But that would be cool, sort of. I was actually thinking when you were saying that the Doctor's memories will just overload it. But maybe rather than that being the end of the episode, that could be like the middle of the episode. And then the rest of if there's more of those type of creatures, they just ignore the Doctor and go for the other people. And that's when the Doctor can, find out what's happening and save them. Perhaps.
Maybe, but I think ending the episode on that mystery kind of brings more intrigue, and it also kind of gives more for the Doctor to. Again, it adds more to her of, oh, what are you hiding? What is this arc? And we'll get to that. But going back around to the monsters, sorry. As for the classic villains, because we know that there's going to be a form of classic monster returning in the 12th season, at least we hope. So I think that if they are going to bring back any classics, I think the prime candidates would have to be the Ice Warriors or the Sea Devils. I would prefer the Sea Devils come back when another Doctor is in the reins, so that maybe we can have a guaranteed good season and a good Doctor and so, so we can have them introduced in a good era.
Yeah.
Because I would have hated it if they were introduced in the last season. Because again, that was just
They would have been good with Capaldi, I think.
Yeah, I think his Doctor was perfect to bring back a lot of classic monsters from the Tom Baker and John Pertwee era, but sadly they missed the opportunity because we got Hellbent instead. But I think that the Sea Devils would be a great monster for them to face. And again, I've always loved the idea of Doctor Who going to the sea again, and then maybe going back to Brighton and have a nice little callback to the Fourth Doctor story. The Hives.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, the Leisure Hive. There was an episode that had the Doctor briefly appear at Brighton. I just think that'd be cool if they went back there and maybe the Doctor would do a jab that, I came here years ago with K9 or something.
Do you remember, like, ages ago, this is a very personal thing, when we were at Shoreham, and, this is, like, when we were, like, I was probably 10 or something, and you were making Doctor Who stories and you wanted to do one in the sea.
Yeah.
That's funny. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Sea Devils would be great to bring back if they could do them right, do them justice, and in a good season. The Ice Warriors, I think they're the safest bet to use for a classic monster returning, because everyone expects the Daleks, the Cybermen. Again, I want those characters to be brought back in an episode that's worth watching. Make the Cybermen be a threat for the season, or maybe in an episode that builds up their threateningness, makes them actually terrifying, and threatens the companions, makes the Doctor want to push herself. Because again, if it's just a casual, monster of the week, it just doesn't really add to them, and it just adds to their, they're there, they're iconic. Next episode. And the Daleks too, they missed their opportunity, because I was hoping, during the first run, I was hoping they would be discarded completely, and they would come back in season 12, and they would build up their return, and Jodie would be terrified, and she'd hate them, she'd be a Doctor that was on the outside, she was charming and nice and adorable, but you find out when she faces her greatest enemies, she's cold, she's evil, and that kind of thing. Kind of like Tennant, he was a charmer on the outside, but when it came to the Daleks, the warrior was returning, the renegade was there again. And I think they missed the opportunity greatly with Resolution. So I think if they are to bring Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of other little points. One of them that you brought up is that lots of Chibnall episodes, even when it was Matt Smith's run, and Chibnall did a couple of episodes, most of the... Actually, no, it is every single creature that Chibnall's introduced isn't essentially a villain. Like, it's an alien who doesn't mean any harm, but they're just sort of trying to survive, and then by the end of the episode, they're fine, and they're just they're living without and not harming anyone. Like you said, there should be a villain that actually is attempting to kill people, and it is doing it on purpose, not just... I mean, even if it's like a Predator type thing, where it's not Predator, I mean as in like a lion. They're trying to kill to eat, but they are trying to kill you. They're not trying to just... They don't kill you by accident. They're not hurting you by accident just because that's the way they are. There should be someone who's actually terrifying and trying to conquer something, even if it's not like the classic of I'm trying to destroy this planet, I'm trying to rule the world, I'm trying to gain access to the government. It should be something like they need something to survive, but they're doing it in a hostile way. They're invading something on purpose, but they are trying to just... Actually, no, that is literally what Chibnall does, though. Yeah, but you know what I mean. So, like, a villain being villainous.
Yeah, they need to have their good share of pure villains.
Yeah,
but they have their own solo motivations that even if the companions and the Doctor can't understand, we understand.
Yeah, motivations. Yeah, that is literally that's a really good point, because there's I can't think of any motivation in season 11 that makes any sense. So good motivations that are sort of that's conflicting and understandable. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay then, so we can now conclude with the final one, the arc, and this is the most important one I think. That's going to really make or break series 12. So, because again, they could blow us out of the park and make us rethink how we thought season 11 went. I doubt it, but they could prove us wrong.
Yeah.
If they get it right. So, mate, how would you handle the arc for series 12?
Okay, so with the arc, the season 11 arc didn't exist. There wasn't anything. There should be an arc. Even if it's just a really subtle little thing like the Bad Wolf, there should be something that is there throughout the series, not tying each episode together, but running through. Maybe tying each episode together or running through the episode very subtly. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. Like, oh, look, those two things together. That's a hybrid. The culmination at the end where it was a hybrid, which was such a bad arc. There should be a good arc that is like that runs through each episode and is paid off in a really satisfying way, and maybe brought up in the first episode, in the middle episode, and then the last episode, with everything being like woven together throughout the series. That's my sort of opinion on the arc. There should, as for episode-wise, there should be at least one two-parter. Yeah, that makes sense. One two-parter to give a big story and to like pay it off in a nice way. But I think that is all I have on arc-related things. I think I'm going to let you go with your arcs because this is your bit that you want to talk about. So go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, I think the best thing for them to do is two things. Now, as we both know, again from the review and from watching the episodes, the only arc that really kind of, if it is considered even an arc, or the thing that stood out the most out of season 11 was the Timeless Child. Only brought up in one episode, so my hopes. Series 12, or they'll introduce another arc that will tie into that and pay it off in the final season if they are to do 3 seasons run just like previous Doctors. For me personally, I would like to go more for the latter. So in this case, with this season, we need, again, the Doctor needs to change, needs to be more gruff, be a bit more different, per se, from where she was in series 11. So how I would do this was that she needs to be introduced to a subtle arc about hiding a secret. Again, I mentioned this earlier, that she needs to be hiding something from everyone, but the villains of the week and so, they'll notice that, oh, you are secretive, you've always kept secrets, but this one's really started to ebb away at you now. Why? And again, she'll give her reasons, she'll have her funny quips, she'll get to her angry points, but she will never reveal it to anyone. Maybe around episode 5, when they fight this memory-based creature, Yaz and others start to notice, and they start to clash and conflict with each other, but they come to an understanding to an extent maybe in a later episode. But this all builds to, oh, what are you keeping? Why are you hiding this? And we find out gradually, is it to do with this timeless child? And she'll neither confirm nor deny it, but we get the idea, yeah, something's happening about this. And it can then be revealed in the final. And again, I like your idea of having there be 2-parters, so again, I would keep that as well. But what they would do in the final would be that they would face this monster, or this threat, or whatever. Be it Time Lord, be it Gallifreyan in origin that has connections to the Time Lords, or be it an original threat that is powerful enough that it knows the Time Lords and is a threat to that extent. Have it be that this creature knows the secret, and maybe tie in the fact that it's going to, I don't know, destroy a say or something, or it will be out, or something like that. Again, it's not a full-out-fleshed arc, but the idea is that this secret will be revealed in the final if the Doctor doesn't beat the bad guy. She does, of course, but we can then find out. I kind of imagine this idea of the Doctor going to the top, doors, and she goes into this abandoned room. Maybe it's a child's bedroom. Maybe it's a nice little corner of the TARDIS that just has some antiques in it. She picks up this chest, and she picks that out, and there's this Gallifreyan markings. There's a Gallifreyan fob-watch, maybe, and she pulls out this photo of her first incarnation and Susan. And maybe she looks at the back of it and says, "One day," or something like that. And then she'll... Oh, no, scratch that. Yeah, but she'll look at the photo, maybe she'll shed a tear, and then she'll hold it close to her, and she'll mutter, "One day." Echoing William Hartnell's last lines to Susan, "One day I shall come back." And it can be revealed then, oh, the Timeless Child is Susan, and it's connected to Susan somehow, so that in season 13, it can be about finding my granddaughter, finding Susan. Is she still out there? Or if they want to, they could just do that full-on in Series 12, if it's revealed that Series 12 is to be her last, as some rumours would suggest. But I think that's the best arc they could do, building off from Timeless Child, and it also works with the Jodie's Doctor, because it adds more to her in terms of keeping this secret and being more secretive. It gives more to her than just being the plucky Time Lord that just happened to be, goofy and all that stuff that she was in Series 11. I also think that, again, added with the other stuff I suggested with the companions, it offers more for them to do and build as a group of friends. Because I still think that it's a bit weird that they are so close by the end of Series 11, even though we don't really get a sense of growth, if that makes sense. I think this kind of arc would definitely cement a bond built between the group of them. And that's all I really have to say on that. So,
hang on.
What do you think,
Can I tell you something? When you were talking about that, I was like, you know what? That sounds like a really cool arc. But you know what would be even cooler is if the Timeless Child wasn't the Doctor and it was Susan. And I wrote that down. So I think we had the same idea. So when you were going through saying, but that'd be a really good sort of arc if it was like the Doctor, some other races are talking about the Timeless Child, and the Doctor's like maybe towards the sort of middle of the series, that is a very sort of prominent bit, and the Doctor's like, "Oh, I am the Timeless Child. Everyone is referring to me. I'm the whatever. If there's a prophecy, that is me." And then that's maybe what she's looking for, and then she finds out she was wrong the whole time, and it was Susan. But I've also written down, maybe Susan is evil, so she finds Susan, and then Susan's the villain. Mate,
honestly, I can't imagine that, and I think that would be very disrespectful to the character, and I also think that would be a waste, because again we've been waiting for Susan to come back ever since they teased that in 64 or 5, I think. So I think to have her come back as the villain, bittersweet and surprising, but I also think it just misses the opportunity to have a happy reunion with the Doctor.
This is true, but it also does. That's a risk, and they need to take risks in Doctor Who to pay off and to be good. But
it's a risk, but it also needs to pay off and be meaningful and not be done because risky. Because again, then you get lost. You get Last Jedi then, and no one liked that. So you don't want to upset fans.
But I didn't.
Anyway, moving away from that.
But, please do.
I think that's my pitch for the arc of the series. Would you say there's anything else you'd like to add overall?
There's nothing I've got written down. There's nothing I've got to say about it. But there are some rumours I have in front of me. If you want me to read them out,
sure. Yeah. Thought we might as well sing this out as well, because they're current rumours at the time. They're likely to change, but they. Yeah, so might as well just have fun and give our thoughts on them.
Yeah, so the first rumour is new writers for season 12 include Victoria Astor Archer and Prasanna Pawanaraja, whoever they are. So that's what do you think of that? Or what do you think of
that? New writers.
Yep.
As long as they're good.
Fair enough.
And I'll say this, as long as they don't try and inject political agendas or social justice messages in it, I'm okay. Just tell a good story. That's all I care about.
Okay, so the next one is Vinay Patel, who is the writer for Demons of Punjab, could be returning to be writing to an episode.
I didn't mind that episode, so I think he'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is a past alien love interest could be introduced. What does
I remember hearing this somewhere. This was made in an interview prior to Series 11 airing, they said that one of the things they stayed clear of when writing Series 11 was giving the Doctor a love interest, in this case with a song, because they wanted it to be a fresh take. I guess the idea here is maybe they could introduce another love interest for the Doctor, or maybe bring back River.
But
I don't know how I feel about that. I'd rather they don't bring in another love interest for the Doctor.
Yeah.
Unless it ties into the Susan Timeless Child arc, and if it's the Doctor's original wife that mothered Susan, because again that kind of adds to the searching for Susan arc. Oh yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, it's a granddaughter. But yeah, I think for a second I thought she was his child. But yeah, again, if that could seek it, that could tie into the search for Susan arc if they ever did that.
Yeah,
my pitch. But if it's River Song, I didn't mind her, but I think her story's done now.
Her story is done. I think they've literally they have firmly said that she's not coming back because of the tower episode. Yeah,
the Towers of Darillium. Wasn't
That's
it?
the one. Yeah, so that was sort of said to be the last time the Doctor or last time River sees the Doctor. So I think that's done. I think River's story's done.
Yeah. So what's the next one?
Okay, the next one. I don't like this one. This is my only opinion on all of them. I don't like this one. It says Rose Tyler could make a return.
I swear we hear this every year.
Yeah.
Every season.
The only way I would like her to return is if it was a spin-off with her and David Tennant in the Para universe doing whatever. But that would be very sort of different Doctor Who type thing because they grow old together, because the Doctor is now human. So if maybe it was like them looking at, like in the future being a bit older doing stuff. That's the only way I'd like her to return, but not as a companion.
Yeah, I don't know if Big Finish is doing a spin-off with her in it. I think they should, if they aren't. But I think that Rose Tyler's story is done. We really don't need to see her again. Again, like River, she's had her fair share of adventures with the Doctor. And she had her cool arcs, and whether you like the romance between her and the Doctor or not, it's done. It's in the past. I think they don't need to keep revisiting that. So, and I think actually the reason this rumour spurred on for Series 11 was because I think the actress herself, Billie Piper, she posted a tweet about being excited for the new season, and she had an emoji of Rose on it, a rose on it.
Oh.
And I guess everyone went crazy saying, "Oh, does that mean you're coming back as Rose?" No, of course not.
No.
She's too big an actress now.
It's a tweet comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the only chance she'd ever come back would possibly be in like the 60th anniversary in 2023. And even then, because she came back for the 50th, I think it was best for them to focus on maybe some stuff from the eras post the 50th anniversary. So again, if they're going to bring back other companions, maybe they might bring back Clara, Dreader.
Well, they could bring back Amy. Yeah. Amy would be good.
I prefer Amy.
Yeah.
Or Bill, or
Bill.
even Graham.
Or all of them. Ethan.
Oh yeah, they definitely need to bring back every existing Doctor if they can. At least Matt Smith till whatever Doctor's.
Well, I mean,
at the time.
I think they should definitely do Paul McGann because he's so willing to come back. I think he should definitely be a big part of it rather than like in a mini episode. Okay, so the next rumor is Yasmin's police career will be explored more deeply.
Again, I really hope they do that, because if they don't do my pitch or not, I really hope they give more credence to why they're there, and not just because they're her job.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Some baddies from the classic era could return. So we sort of mentioned that already.
Yeah, again, it's expected. And again, considering how things went with the new villains this season, I don't think they're going to try that again. At least I hope they don't.
Yeah. Bloody stupid. Alien who eats stuff. That's so stupid. Okay, so the next one. South Africa filming is possibly for episode 1 and 5.
Oh.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I guess that's filming location-wise,
Yeah.
I guess. So I really hope this doesn't mean they're returning to America or some other place. I hope they do some different stuff.
Wait, South Africa
this season. Yeah, they filmed Rosa and the Ghost Monument in Africa.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think what they should do is they should bring some different planets and different locations. Again, I still think they need to go to the sea at some point. They need to again take the Fantastic Beasts route, go to different corners of the world than just Sheffield or America.
They could go to Margate and have a holiday.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for them to do an episode where they encounter Joe Grant in the rainforest. Is that all the rumours so far on Doctor Who TV?
That is all of them that is on this website I'm looking at.
Yeah, Doctor Who Wikipedia, not TV.
That's the
but
one.
Yeah, okay, so bit off straying the end of there, sorry, but that's our suggestions, I guess, for how we want Series 12 to hopefully go. Who knows? It could blow us away, or it could just make us despise it even more.
I really hope it's
But-
going to be good.
I really hope so too. Again, as much as I hate Series 11, it's not the worst thing in the world, but they need to do better, and it's my favourite show. I just hope they do the best they can.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's it, thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Harry.
That's okay.
Cool, and goodbye.
Bye!